What if the placenta doesn't come out? That's another question. I saw a medical video online, and it basically said that if the woman had not delivered the placenta 30 minutes after the baby was born, this is what they should do. Now it shows an animated video. A nurse or a doctor puts on a glove. He puts his hand inside the womb and he scrapes with his fingertips between the mother and the placenta, and he loosens it and he pulls it out. If I think of that, I think of torture. That's inhumane. You don't do that 30 minutes after the baby is born. You don't even give longer than 30 minutes for that placenta to loosen. Okay, now I'd like to explain a bit about the placenta. Here's the umbilical, and this side is attached to the mother, and these blue veins and these red arteries. The red arteries squirt blood into this, let's call it a pool. So it's a pool of blood. Okay? And the little blood, what would you say, blood vessels, cells or whatever, moves around here. And the baby needs to get nutrients and oxygen. Where does he get it from? He gets it from mother's blood, but the baby's blood and the mother's blood never touch. It's ingenious, it's amazing. Right, so this side is connected to baby, and this is into the mother's lining. These branches have little villi at the ends. Almost like in your intestines there's villi, it's like hairs that pick up the nutrients, minerals or whatever from your food and sends it to your blood. It's the same with the placenta. It takes the nutrients and the oxygen from the mother's blood into the villi and then sends it to the baby's vein, this red one, and it goes to the baby, and the baby gets oxygenated blood with nutrients and everything it needs. It goes through its system, it bypasses the liver. The liver works semi. It bypasses the lungs because the lungs are full of fluid. The blood already has oxygen via the mother's blood. Right, so when the oxygen and nutrients have been used up through the baby's system, then these arteries bring the poor oxygen blood and poor nutrient blood back to the placenta to refuel. And so the system goes on and on and on and on and on. In nature, if a woman had a baby, what would she do? She'd pick the baby up and look at the baby and cuddle the baby and check the toes and the fingers. It takes a while. She's looking at her baby. She's not going to think, ooh, where are the scissors? Where's this? Where's that? No, she's in her element. She's doing what she knows. We've forgotten
to be natural.
Yes. We've forgotten how nature works. If you look at the animals, you'll see how nature works. Why have we, people who think we're so grand, forgotten? How can we forget? People who live on farms still know. But we've forgotten, city people. Right. When the baby is out, after a while it'll want to suckle, and you'll notice. So you'll put the baby on your breast, and the baby starts drinking, and with that drinking comes excruciating contractions, and your uterus is contracting and contracting, and that helps to expel the placenta. Don't take the baby away from mother. You don't need an injection to expel the placenta. Put the baby on mother's breast.
While the umbilical cord is still
Yes, while the umbilical cord is still attached. Right. When those contractions happen, those agonizing contractions, it basically contracts this area, and these vessels will pinch closed. And after a while they'll notice, oh, this whole thing isn't really attached to mom anymore. It's not part of mom anymore. So we're going to close off all these blood vessels going to the placenta. And then the placenta will be loose inside the womb. And if you stand up and you give a little push, it'll come out. No yanking on the cord to see if the placenta is loose. Okay, so that's the natural way of placenta release. You don't need an injection. And you know what? You've got to give it time. With my first daughter, it took an hour and a half for that process to happen. And then when I stood up and I gave a little push, it came out. Hour and a half.
after birth.
After birth, after the baby being born, an hour and a half. And that medical video only gave 30 minutes. If let's say they did that, what happens to all these blood vessels? Say they gave you an injection and now they're going to pull it loose. The injection is supposed to do what the baby sucking does naturally, yes. My second daughter, her placenta was really odd. It was a round ball like this. And after I gave birth to her, it didn't come out, and it didn't come out, and it didn't come out. And I told my husband, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. It will come out. And when the cord was limp and no more blood flow, I did clamp the cord and cut it, and I went for a bath. And that night when the baby was sleeping, I went for another bath, and I felt what's happening inside there. And I felt a big ball inside there rolling with my fingers going like this. I thought, okay, well, that's the placenta, but it's huge. I'm going to have to birth this thing. So I gave a good big push, and it came out, and it felt like another head coming out. It was sore, but there it was, out. Woo! And that's 5 hours after giving birth to my daughter. I birthed the placenta. 5 hours, 30 minutes. What's up with that? Why does everyone get so scared about the placenta not coming out? Time. Time is money. Right, this is very, 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 very important. What must I do about the umbilical cord? Let me just explain to you what happens with the placenta and the baby's blood. Right, the placenta coming through, the baby's blood coming through the placenta and going back to baby and so forth and so forth. All of it is the baby's blood. None of it is the mother's blood. It all belongs to the baby. Right, and it's about plus minus 450 ml total, the volume of the blood in the placenta and in the baby. Just after birth, right after birth, the volume of blood in the baby is plus minus 300 ml. And the blood still remaining in the placenta is plus minus 150 ml. Now remember, all of that blood belongs to the baby. What happens if you clamp the cord immediately after birth? The baby only has that much blood in its system. It's supposed to have 450 ml, but it only has 300 ml. After the baby is born, the placenta wants to send the last bit of blood to the baby. This is natural. It's just nature. Why are we meddling with nature? The placenta wants to send that last bit of extra nutrients and oxygen-filled blood back to the baby. And we clamp and cut it and say, you're not having the rest of your blood. Terrible. They do that with premature babies as well. Those babies need that extra blood. They need it. If you leave the umbilical attached to the baby without clamping or cutting, the placenta will pump that last bit of blood to the baby, and the baby will not need a vitamin K injection. Routinely in hospitals, they clamp the cord, cut it, and then give a vitamin K injection. Why? Time. Time is money. A few minutes. It only takes a few minutes for this blood to go back to baby, but they don't even have a few minutes. The Bible says the life is in the blood. The life is in the blood. Long time ago, we thought we were clever. Ooh, you're ill. You must have dirty blood. Let's bleed you. Ooh, you're dead. Oh, shucks. Oh, what now? Oh, another ill person. Let's bleed you. Oh, you're dead. Oh, we don't learn. What about the babies? Isn't this almost like that? Taking away 150 more from the baby? In nature, the placenta would have pushed it back to the baby. That's how it's supposed to be. And if you cut or clamp the cord quickly, it doesn't make sense, because the baby can still get oxygen from that blood. So if you leave it attached and the baby takes in air, you don't have to worry about the noise, because you know that the baby is still getting oxygen in its blood via the placenta. So you're making those babies' lungs work extra hard to try and you know. And what about the premature babies as well? What about their little lungs? Give them all the help they can get. Not by taking them away from the mother. That doesn't help. You put them into stress. By leaving the cord to pulse all the blood back to the baby. Also, the liver needs to start working very quickly after birth, because now it's taking the full load. It bypassed the liver while the baby was inside there, but now it has to filter all of the blood by itself. If you cut the cord, same thing. Help the baby a little bit extra by leaving the cord alone.